Just, yeah. Hello and welcome to the return of the Bearded Horror Review. My name is Dan, aka the Boogey Man, and I am here to do horror movie reviews for you. I will review a good movie, a bad movie, I'll review a new movie or a classic, talk you through the movie, talk through some good points and bad points if there are any of either, and I will give a rating out of 10 if I remember to do it, and let you know if I think it's worth a notch. Worth a watch or not, in my humble opinion. I am rusty as fudge. Yeah, welcome back. I took a long break. I did one video since September, October. Yeah, like I did a Christmas video, but it was a bit more of like just me talking about Nightmare for Christmas. You haven't watched it? Go watch it. But I'm back. I've had a good break from my mental health and a bunch of other things that I've just been sorting out, and yeah, so we're back. We're going to be doing more videos. I say we, it's just me and the voices in my head. Yeah, so we're back, and I am going to do what I promised that I would do and talk about some Saw films. First of all, today we're going to be talking about Saw X. Before we carry on, if you could leave a like, comment and subscribe down below, that'd be awesome. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Saw X, Saw Extreme, Saw 10, Saw, there's more Saw, but you didn't think we could do more Saw. Saw, John Kramer's back. Guess what? He's back and he's looking older than ever. But it's set in the past. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Saw X. I didn't get to see it at the time for, like I said, my health reasons. And I eventually saw it a couple of months ago, and I watched it again recently. I finally bought it on Blu-ray to finish off my collection, and I decided to give it another watch, and I started a new Instagram for this page, and everything is linked right down here. I asked people, hey, what should be my first review back? And I put a couple of films up, and it was pretty much a landslide for Saw X. So we're going to be talking about it.
You picked John Kramer?
So Saw X sees the return of John Kramer. It's set sometime between 1 and 3. Spoiler alert, if you didn't know, John Kramer dies at the end of 3. So every film that has him in going forward, it's either flashback or prequel of some kind. I made a video talking about our movie. And I talked about Saw in that movie, like anticipating Saw X. And I was like, I reckon it's going to be somewhere between like 1 and 3, probably 2 and 3. And it's going to be centered around what he spoke about in Saw 6. Now, if you haven't seen Saw 6, there is a flashback scene in Saw 6 where he goes to his insurance company to say that he's looking to do like an experimental procedure.
Our program is a two-pronged treatment outside Mexico City. The results have been stunning.
And they deny him in that film, and then sawing happens. People get sawed. Some situations happen, some scenarios. But yeah, so spoilers going ahead. I'm just going to do a spoiler review. It is what it is. I'm going to do a spoiler review. If you haven't seen Saw X yet, turn it off, go watch it, come back, watch me rant about it. So yeah, it's set between 1 and 3 at some point where John Kramer goes to Mexico to have this experimental kind of surgery. He saw, he's been seeing specialists and things, and they've been telling him basically he's not got long to live, and he goes to these like cancer help groups, kind of like much like an Alcoholics Anonymous, where they sit around and they talk about what they're struggling with, and they're trying to get it's some people sitting around talking about how they've got cancer and how they're dealing with it and what they're having to deal with. And I guess, that's a good thing. Having an environment where you can talk to people who understand what you're going through. And while he's there, he meets a guy who has got cancer and pancreatic cancer, I think. And, he's just, he's going to die. Everyone in this group is terminal. Cut to a little time later, and John Kramer bumps into the same guy, completely cured. And it's a experimental procedure by this woman. And John Kramer contacts them. He has to rush to Mexico. He goes there and has this procedure where, it's supposed to be a mix of surgery and a cocktail of a special drug that's been made that's not been approved by the FDA yet. So it's all very secretive. And surprise, surprise, turns out to be a scam. It's a big old scam. John Kramer is very much soaring at this point. There's a few things in it, like I said, spoilers going ahead, again, spoilers. There's a few things in it that have been advertised a lot, such as the eye trap that people see. We've all seen the poster, I've used it as the thumbnail, and the eye trap, and it turns out it's John Kramer does this a lot apparently, where you will see someone committing a crime or something he doesn't deem good in his boomer eyes, and he comes up with a plan pretty much straight away of how to fuck these people up. And the eye trap, I was a bit disappointed by this, not gonna lie. So you see the trap happen. So this is how they figured out how to get more traps in it. You see the trap happen, but it's actually a scenario that John's running through his head. It's an idea he's got. But he sees a guy, an orderly or a cleaner who works in the hospital that he's staying at, thinking about stealing a watch. And John Kramer thinks, oh, I'll break this guy's fingers or pull his eyes out in this trap. And that's what John Kramer does, apparently. He just thinks of ways to punish people really over the top for very petty things. And that's something I want to get into later in the video. So John Kramer goes and has this experimental surgery. Turns out it's a hoax.
The tumor was never removed.
And he uses the last remaining bit of life that he's got left to teach these people a life lesson. So all the people that were part of this scam and this surgery, teaches them a life lesson. There is a kind of continuity error I will mention later on, but yeah. So first of all, let's talk about it. So when I was watching this film, it's very obvious that they went, we need to put John Kramer's face in this film all the way through. He's the main character. This is what the people want to see. They're not just here for the traps, they're here for Jigsaw as well, which is true. So they crowbar him into as much of the scenes as possible. He is face in front of all of it. Let's talk about the positives. The traps, some of them are fun. I want to say inventive kills in this one. There is some inventive stuff. There is one trap with an MRI machine and a woman getting burnt with radiation, which is kind of brutal. And I feel like they took inspiration from Saw 3. Where like a guy smashed his foot to bits to be able to get out of a trap. Someone has to do that in this one with their hand and their foot with the radar gun thing. It's really, it's quite clever. It's different. But these kills that we see, they are not very inventive, other than the eye trap, which I think they knew was the most inventive one. The rest of them are very much generic and very much spins on things we've already seen. One of them, like a woman has to cut her own leg off and then suck the bone marrow out of her leg. That might seem like, oh, we've not heard that before. But we've had a few traps where people have had to remove limbs or they've had to cut something off and they've had a timer to do it. And then they've had to weigh something out in a scale. I think it's Saw 6 where that happens, where two people are put in opposite sides of a room and they have to cut off enough flesh off themselves and then put it on a scale. Whoever cuts the most off wins. That's happened before, and that's what this woman does. She just does it to herself. The difference in this film compared to the other ones is, like I said, John Kramer is there and he's face to face with all these people and he's doing the crime. He's not hiding himself at all. Billy the puppet is in it for no reason at all, for one little scene. It's very unlike John Kramer to be there and present. And there's another thing it's vengeance, really. He is committing vengeance, which he said is not something that you should do. It's against his own rules. I mean, John Kramer breaks all his own rules, don't he? I made a video from my Patreon page called Why Jigsaw is the Ultimate Boomer. And that goes through all those 10 reasons that I think Jigsaw is the Ultimate Boomer. And that is one of them. He breaks his own rules. Anyway, yeah, so he's there the whole way through. It's very much non-John Kramery. That's I kind of want. When I was watching this, that irked me a bit. That this was happening. It felt very much forced for him to be there. Yeah, but there's another kill where someone has to cut out a piece of their own brain, and then if they don't do it in time, their head will get boiled, which happens. He doesn't do it in time. That's very reminiscent of Saw 7 with the the one who gets trapped in the bull at the end of Saw 7, Saw 3D, Saw coming at you. Wow. She gets put in this contraption where she's shaped like a bull and it boils her alive inside. This kind of happens. This other thing that looks, there's a Mexican version. I don't know the name of it. Sorry. It goes over this guy's head and boils his head essentially. The other thing that's different in this one compared to the other films is they're all in the same room. They're all with each other. They're all talking to each other while these things are going on. And that was a slight twist on it. One thing that I enjoyed was, not the gore and things, and I did enjoy like the little interactions that everyone was having while everyone was going through these traps. But I felt it was very much against what Saw is. Like, this isn't really a Jigsaw thing. It's not really what he does. He might have done it early on. Like when we see Jigsaw, the 8th film in the franchise. It's set, spoiler warning, it's set as his first attempt. So it's set in the past, even though it's supposed to look like it's modern day. It's set as his first attempt at doing jigsaw traps, and people are around each other. But from then on, people are very much alone in their own traps, bar even like one other person really. Saw 2, people are still getting stuck in their own individual traps, and I think that was kind of the point. But there isn't really much trapping in Saw 2. It doesn't feel very trappy. Because that wasn't a Saw. Saw 2 wasn't written as a Saw film. It was written as a film called The Desperate, and that was then transferred and reworked to be a Saw film. So that's why that film feels a little bit off compared to all the other ones where there's a lot of people, individual traps, or just one or two people. But yeah, the film in all is okay. There's one thing that bothers me about the Saw franchise that happens in this film and the later ones in the franchise, whereas Jigsaw plans for everything. He knows everything that's going on. He knows how people are going to act. He foresees everything. I feel like there's a scene in this where a young boy who he befriends early in the film shows up near the end of the film. He goes, "This is an unforeseen circumstance," but it still doesn't change anything. I mean, they tried to put that there to show that he doesn't predict everything. But it still works out fine and works out exactly how they planned it, really, bar that one thing. That always bothers me about these things, that the fact that John Kramer's always 10 steps ahead of everybody. It's getting too hard to believe. The film itself, like I said, I enjoyed it. It's fine. It's loads better than Spiral. It's on par with Jigsaw. It's fine. It's fine. It's not groundbreaking. You're not seeing anything new. But it is full of little mistakes and continuity errors. For example, at the start of the film, when he's talking to the lady arranging this surgery and stuff, she asks him, like, I think she says, like, we'll be around in about 3 months, and he's like, right. So, and then she goes, oh, you don't have 3 months to live. I think it's 3 months, something like that. A very short amount of time. It's like, no, I don't really have that much time. And I'm guessing this is more closer to 2 than 3. Because Amanda's hair is really short, just like it is in Saw 2. However, if he's only got a couple of weeks or months to live, by Saw 3, Amanda has full shoulder length, longer than shoulder length hair. Now, I'm no hairdresser, hair person, especially since I can't grow any hair on my head anymore. But I think it takes longer than a couple of months to grow your hair from really short to over shoulder length. So there's a little bit of a continuity error there. And yeah, there's just a few little things like that just kind of bug me. The fact that he's always in the room, Amanda's really not that into it. It's another thing that is not very Jigsaw-y. The fact that he is really like pally with this little boy out of nowhere for some reason, it just felt a bit odd. I know it's trying to show his engineering when he fixes a bike wheel. It doesn't feel very Jigsaw-y. It kind of feels like these people aren't supposed to get out of these traps. He gives someone 60 seconds to saw their leg off, shove a needle up it, and suck bone marrow out of it. And that's one of the problems I had with all of the later Jigsaw films. The first one, it's a puzzle. It takes a long time, and they're trying to solve these puzzles. Even number 2, as it was rewritten as a Jigsaw film, they have time to figure out things and do things. By 3, it's a longer test that this guy is going through along a game. Boo! How'd you forget that that's the whole thing for Jigsaw? Even that, like, so, and then he's like, oh, you've got a couple of minutes to save this person and that person. But it's a long process for himself. These later traps, they're all so quick. They've got no time to think. They've got to do everything super quickly. And then it doesn't feel fair, and they feel really rushed. And it feels like people aren't supposed to get out of them, which they don't. Even if they come this close and they've done what they've has been expected of them to within that much. Jigsaw's like, no, done, you're dead. Like, for example, the girl who cuts her leg off, shoves the needle up it to suck bone marrow out. She gets within millimeters of doing it, but Jigsaw lets the trap kill her. But she did everything he asked. He gave her no margin for thought. He gave her no margin for error. And that kind of bothered me because in the earlier films, he gives people time to think. He gives people time for contemplation and to really think about what they need to do. And those later films, they just feel like, oh, you just want to kill people. That's what it feels like. With these later ones, it doesn't feel like he's actually trying to give anyone a chance. But that's just my opinion. Like I said, the film is fine. It ends with a cool little stinger of Hoffman showing up. But other than that, it's really short. It's really quick. The traps and stuff aren't really that inventive compared to what we've seen in the past, bar the eye trap. And that's not even a real trap. Yeah, we see it worked out, but it turns out it's not real. It's just a thought in John Kramer's head. So it's just a bit. It's fine. It's a 6 out of 10. I don't want to rewatch it as much as I want to rewatch the other ones. Saw 1, I always want to rewatch. Saw 3, I like those and I will rewatch them over and over. This one, it's just meh. It is what it is. I understand why they made it. They made a lot of money making it. You know, that means Saw 11 is coming. But other than that, it doesn't really do much other than go, remember this guy? Remember these traps? Remember John Kramer? Remember the puppet? Remember Amanda? It just does that. And it's fine. You know, if you like Saw and you like the Jigsaw franchise, you're going to like this film. It's as simple as that. So go watch it. Like I said, it's a 6 out of 10 from me. Well, thank you guys for listening to me talk about Saw X. I will go through the other Saw films. I'll do full reviews on all of them at some point. I'll probably maybe even do my Saw-tober series maybe still. But I'll call it something else and I'll just get a bunch of Saw videos up. But yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. And all the links and everything are down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you liked the film, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. What Saw film would you like me to talk about next? Or what film would you like to talk about next? You can also drop me an email. And I do have a Patreon that is going at the moment. It's currently free at the moment. So you can see what kind of content I will be doing. And then it will start going into a subscription, which will just be like $3 a month. But that won't happen for a little bit. I'm going to show you all the content that I have to offer going forward from there. If you really want to support me and keep this going, because, you know, it takes time and money to make these things. I want you to enjoy them. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching. What? Oh my God. Thank you very much for watching. I'm glad to be back. I will be doing more videos, at least one a week. And until then, I'll be watching.